Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have very difficult, horrific story to share with you. Gonna try to get through this without tearing up or breaking down, but this is a direct result of Donald Trump's vilification of migrants in the United States. Multiple news outlets have reported that early in February, February 3rd, a young girl in Texas purposely injured herself, and then about a week later, she succumbed to her injuries. Her name was Jocelyn Rojo Carranza. She was only 11 years old. The reason she took her own life is because she was allegedly and relentlessly bullied by other sixth graders who were telling her that her parents were going to be deported. So according to Jocelyn's family, Jocelyn was bullied due to her ethnicity, and the other students started threatening her that they were going to call immigration and customs enforcement and report her parents. And they say that the other students told her that she would have to live alone because her parents were going to be deported. Law and Crime news outlet reached out to the local police, and a Gainesville Police Department spokesperson said they can't comment because there's an active investigation underway. But the spokesperson said that the bullying allegations are being investigated not just by them, the police department, but also by the Gainesville Independent School District. And so Law and Crime reached out to the school district. They also didn't comment on Jocelyn's specific case. They just responded with this boilerplate outline of their quote unquote anti-bullying, zero tolerance stance. It said in part, quote, "Whenever we receive a report of bullying, we respond swiftly to ensure all students are safe physically and emotionally." And then it also said that, quote, "If a report arises, the district immediately takes steps necessary to respond appropriately. We have been and will continue to be proactive in our efforts to make sure our schools are safe, secure, and free from harassment." And there was a radio interview conducted with the school district superintendent. And in that interview, he claimed, quote, "There was no active bullying report filed with GISD. We had no idea that the things that have been reported in the media have been taking place. Students started coming to the table to make administration aware of kind of what's taking place, so that we then found out at that particular moment that there was indeed some ongoing bantering and issues back and forth." Okay, I don't know who's telling the truth here, but this is not what Jocelyn's family is saying. According to her mother, Jocelyn was getting counseling. They say 2 to 3 times a week she was going to see a counselor at the school because of these issues. But they say that the counselor and the school never informed Jocelyn's parents of this fact. And her mother told Univision, quote, "It looks like the school was aware of it, but they never let me know the news." And she told CNN, quote, "After what happened to my daughter, we talked to the investigator to find out more about what had happened to my daughter because they said it had been due to bullying, but I never knew anything about it." So this is Texas. This is a state where they have gone so overboard, where they say, oh, every parent has a right to know what's going on in school. Every parent has a right to know what their children is being taught. Right? They're so up in arms about parental rights. Oh, transgenders. Oh, people using different names, and children are coming home from school a different sex. We have to keep the parents informed. Right? But yet this same state doesn't think that a parent has a right to know that their child is being bullied, or that they're receiving counseling? Are you freaking kidding me? Maybe because it didn't fit into their narrative, right? Maybe because they don't want the parents to know that children are being bullied because of Donald Trump. So there's a Latino civil rights organization that pointed out, rightfully, that the schools have a mandatory responsibility to report things like this. And not just to the parents, but also potentially to the police. They said, quote, as mandated reporters, school officials had a duty to protect Jocelyn. And if they did nothing, they should face criminal charges. It is absurd to think that the school didn't know what was going on because other parents and other students absolutely knew. There was another family that told CNN that there was all kinds of talk at school about ICE in the weeks leading up to Jocelyn's death. A family called the Noble family, they said that their daughter, who is white, by the way, she started coming home from school crying about 3 weeks ago. And they said, quote, people had been telling her, friends that were Hispanic, that they were going to get deported, that ICE was coming for them. And she was just terrified. There was talk of, I'm going to call ICE on your family. You're going to get deported. Just a lot of fear, a lot of picking at each other. And then one of Jocelyn's friends said she wasn't aware of Jocelyn personally being attacked or bullied, but she said, and this was a little girl named Genesis, she told CNN that she heard other students making comments that, quote unquote, ICE was coming. And Genesis said, quote, I was scared because I have family that's Mexican. And I really don't want that to happen because I love my family. So these children are being targeted. They are being bullied. They are being terrorized by little bigoted assholes who are clearly being raised by adult-sized bigoted assholes. And I am not calling them adults because they may be adult-sized, but anyone who's racist is not an adult. They are moronic, immature, terrified little children living in an adult's body. Because that's the only person that cares about, who is so insecure about their own life and their own failures that they would care about the color of someone else's skin or their nationality or their religion. That's it. Only if you're wildly insecure and you know you're a freaking loser who has nothing to show for your life. That's the only person who's pointing at other people. And but for Donald Trump's election, this little girl would still be alive. That is a fact. Because if Joe Biden was in office right now, if Kamala Harris was in office right now, people would not be deporting or getting deported just left and right for no freaking reason. And these racist SOBs wouldn't feel emboldened to be like this. They wouldn't feel emboldened to go to school and act like little assholes and target their classmates. So when people ask me, oh, why do you hate Donald Trump so much? Why do you hate him with a burning, seething passion? This is one of the top reasons. Because his rhetoric puts a target on people's backs. Because he uses otherism for his political gain. Because he turns Americans against each other based on the color of their skin, their nationality, their religion. He is the Antichrist. And there is nothing he can ever do to win me over. So I will leave you all with this. Along with announcing her death, Jocelyn's father wrote, quote, although my heart and my soul are dying, at this moment, I have to continue for myself and my other little cherubs.